Coming up, an area coach and his 3 sons share a common bond through the game of football. A sophomore quarterback had big shoes to fill, and he's doing it. And 2 teams open up region play in the backyard brawl. Tonight on Sportsource.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Sportsource. We're here to fill you in on all the Friday night light action for Athens area teams. I'm your host, Marian Block. I will be joined soon by Analyst Caray and later by Davis Baker and Brendan Koerner. We have some great matchups to preview tonight. Athens Academy hosts Prince Avenue Christian in a crosstown rivalry that will give the winner a region lead. Athens Christian also opens region play at George Walton Academy. Clark Central and Cedar Shoals both will try to keep their midseason momentum. The Gladiators against Walnut Grove and the Jaguars against undefeated Jefferson. North Oconee hosts region opponent Flowery Branch, while 6-0 Oconee County travels to take on undefeated Hart County. As we look at all these matchups, there is one that just cannot be ignored. It's the one between longtime crosstown rivals, with the Athens Academy Spartans hosting the 2020 state champions, the Prince Avenue Wolverines. This is our game of the week. I admit to having a minor bias for the Spartans, being an Athens Academy alum, and this game is always a highlight. I've got Caray here with me. Chris, take us why this matchup is so important.
These 2 teams are vying for supremacy within Region 8. Both are expected to go deep into the playoffs, and they have a long history with each other. Prince Avenue is coming off a state title victory and is first in the region with a 5-1 record, while Athens Academy is at 4-2, good for second place. I think like most rivalry games, records go out the window when these 2 teams meet. You also have to consider that this is the first region game of the season for both teams, with Athens Academy having the advantage at home. Huge implications for their backyard brawl tonight.
You mentioned history, Chris. I remember back in my high school days, we would always do a whiteout, and after every touchdown would toss up baby powder and flour. While my hair was white for days, the occasional win was definitely worth it. Over the past 5 matchups, the Spartans are leading the series 3-2. However, Prince Avenue dominated Athens Academy 41-7 last season, and the Wolverines, of course, do have that state championship.
And I think it's worth mentioning that Prince Avenue had Brock Vandegrift under center in that wonderful season for the Wolverines. Now, with a new but capable quarterback in Aaron Philo, the game may be slightly different than before. I expect this one to be much closer.
Spartan head coach Josh Alexander talked with us about his young team. He has 3 freshman starters on defense. Of course, they'll have to slow down Philo, who has nearly 2,000 yards through the air in 6 games. He is the #1 quarterback in the state. Who are some other players that young Spartan defense will have to key in on?
Well, you have to look at the Wolverines receivers, Ethan Christian and Bayley Stockton. The Wolverines like to utilize trips packages, overloading receivers on each side. Christian leads the team in receiving yards with 582 through only 5 games. He also has 8 touchdowns, while Stockton has played in all 6 and has 551 yards and 7 touchdowns.
Athens Academy uses a unique 2-quarterback system. Whit Muschamp and Sam Bush both will be under center for the Spartans tonight. This gives Athens Academy some flexibility at quarterback. How can this give the Spartans an advantage?
If one guy isn't working, they can utilize the other more, and vice versa. The defense has an anchor in Gennario Holt as well. The 6'3", 275-pound lineman is the leader of that defense. If I'm the Wolverine offensive line, I would game plan for him and protect Aaron Philo.
Well, Chris, it seems that this backyard brawl will be another one for the books. Thanks for breaking that down for us. We'll see you later in the show when we debate which Athens area teams are on the hot seat tonight. Now we have more for you on Prince Avenue Christian quarterback Aaron Philo. He might not be as much of a household name as his predecessor, but he seems to be on his way. Reeves Jackson has a story about the success of the Wolverine quarterback culture.
After Prince Avenue Christian lost its Royal King at quarterback, how Aaron Philo would fulfill his role as heir apparent was a big question. Safe to say, he's answered that, with a little help from his predecessor.
I'm quite surprised, to be honest. Not that he couldn't do it, but, it's just, I didn't expect it. He's had a great year.
Brock Vandegrift led the Wolverines to the 2020 state championship, then graduated a few weeks later. That gave the 5-star quarterback a head start on his University of Georgia career, but his impact is still evident at Prince Avenue Christian, where his dad and Philo will lead the 5-1 Wolverines into tonight's key regional matchup against Athens Academy.
For Aaron to see how Brock led, again, by example, it's hard to tell the guys come work out in the morning if you don't show up. And so, I think Aaron had the great opportunity just to watch him like a big brother, you know, kind of situation.
The proverbial little brother has more than exceeded expectations. The sophomore has nearly matched Vandegrift in every statistical category, while throwing for more yards through the team's first 6 games.
Yeah, me and Brock, we always talk just about football, about how he's doing at Georgia, how I'm doing, about our lives and stuff. It's a good relationship.
Vandegrift began his mentorship of Philo when the 2020 season began. That tutelage continues.
You know, they probably text again. I know Brock probably watches about every game.
Someone who knows all about the leadership both of these quarterbacks can provide is wide receiver and defensive back Bayley Stockton. He played with Brock Vandegrift during last year's state title run. He sees many similarities between Vandegrift and Philo in their leadership styles.
If Aaron sees something wrong that's on the field, he won't just like scream at the man. He'll try to get him better instead of just trying to make him feel bad. He'll try to get him better, and I feel like that's what Brock did as well.
It seems that both Vandegrifts instilled a trait in Philo that every quarterback must have: leadership.
Breaking down a huddle or like rallying them up and just getting them ready for the game, and then really just trying to lead them the best I can, because leadership's like a big part of a team, and like you can't win without leaders, so I think that's a big part.
With the season on a trajectory that feels much like the magical 2020 campaign, Philo looks to sustain this improbable success in pursuit of state championship number 2. Reeves Jackson, Carmichael Sports Media Institute at UGA.
Tonight might just be the biggest test of the season for Philo and the Wolverines. Now to another area quarterback who has his team at 3-3 and on a 3-game winning streak. After a rocky start earlier this week, our Mariah Rose walked 100 yards with Clark Central quarterback Lucian Anderson.
I'm Mariah Rose, and this is 100 Yards with Clark Central QB Lucian Anderson. First question, tell me about your pregame ritual. What gets you pumped up at the start of a game?
Really, I think it's just my music and seeing my teammates all locked in. We're out there ready to play.
What artist gets you hyped up before a game?
The artist that gets me hyped up the most is probably NBA YoungBoy, but I still listen to other artists too.
Who's your favorite NFL QB?
Right now, I'd say that's Justin Fields, just because I feel like he's a lot like me.
And if you had to describe yourself as a QB in one sentence, what would you say?
I'd say that I'm a pocket passer that's able to use his legs also.
Yeah. And if you had to describe your personal self in one word, what word would you use?
Kind.
Kind? So that's a pretty good trait to have. And what is your favorite post-game meal?
My favorite post-game meal is definitely Cookout, 2 chicken quesadillas and an order of cheese bites.
Sounds good. And tell me a little bit about how your dad originally didn't want you to play football. Why was that?
He just thought it was real dangerous. Back then, a lot of the kids were getting concussions and breaking bones. He just didn't want that for me.
And he played football himself. What position did he play?
He played receiver.
Do you ever practice throwing with your pops?
I do it every weekend, all the time.
Extra critical?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now that you've had so much success with the game, what does he say?
He just says that he's glad that he let me play. Honestly, he's just glad he let me play, and he wants me to keep working harder every day.
Now, going into the rest of the season with region play and everything, what are you going to say to your team to get them hyped up to start?
That we just got to keep the same energy that we've been having and just be ready to beat them on the other side of the ball.
And tell me a little bit about the team's relationship with Coach Perno, what he brings to the program.
We love Coach Perno. We feel like he brings us all together, and we're ready to go out there and fight for him on the field on Friday night.
And coming into playing at Clark Central from Prince, tell me what's been different.
Just the talent and the athletes. Everybody up here in 5A is a lot faster. It took me a little bit of time to get used to that, but now that I am, I feel like I'm doing all right.
And what do you think sets you apart as a football player?
Just my ability to be able to use my legs as a quarterback, and you're supposed to really only be able to throw the ball, but I can still run too.
And you've described yourself as poise on the field. What do you think that means to you?
It's just being able to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations.
And going into the end of the season, what are your goals for the rest of the football season?
I want to win the region championship first of all, then I want to go on and win the state championship too.
Awesome. That was 100 yards with Clark Central's QB, Lucian Anderson.
What a great segment. and apparently he wants to study marine biology when he gets to college. When we come back, Ethan Strang checks in with this week's Athlete in the Spotlight, and RJ Taylor gives us a look at Oconee County head coach Travis Nolan and his family's football legacy.
Part-time job, full-time hustle, all-time Shiro to all of us. You nurture, we listen. You teach, we thrive. You lift our spirits, but we've got to lay down the truth. It's time for you, our Shiro, to stretch for the stars. A free online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Start saving more for retirement so you can feel prepared and live your life to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Every day,
millions of people are connecting.
And even though we're overcoming obstacles,
watching each other's backs,
and banding together,
we should still make an effort.
To get to know each other
on a deeper level.
Father,
cosplayer,
mentor,
actor.
It's time we take a step forward.
Come together
and discover
how accepting our differences
can make us stronger.
Welcome back to Sportsource. Marian Block here with you as we take a look at this week's athlete and coach in the spotlight. First up, our athlete in the spotlight, Ethan Strang, has his story on Athens Christian running sensation John S. Davis.
Fast, physical. These are two words frequently used to describe Athens Christian senior running back John S. Davis, but what sets him apart is his ability to gain yards before and after contact. The soft-spoken Athens native is third in the state in rushing yards and first in total touchdowns through Athens Christian's first 6 games of the season. A multi-sport athlete, football is his main focus.
Well, because I've been playing football since I was like 4, and I've been loving football since I was young. And basketball, I really just play basketball for fun. Basketball is really, if you ask me, it's too soft because there's fouls. Yes, football is my main sport. I like to do track just to, stay in shape.
Davis set the school record for most rushing yards in a season last fall. During his sophomore season, he set the school's single-game rushing record with 369 yards and 6 touchdowns, but Davis is not chasing records. They just come naturally to him.
I just let it be what it be, I just focus on the season and winning and playing the game. Put that in the back of my mind, I focus on the next game.
Despite all the record-breaking and big performances, Davis's high school athletic career got off to a rocky start. Davis suffered ACL tears in each of his knees his freshman and sophomore years.
Physically, it was nothing because I like to work out. I like to be active anyways. Mentally, it was kind of hard because, it's a block and it's a wall that you got to get over because you can't do what you want to do. It's kind of hard to watch your team, play or work out or do something that you can't do.
Despite being laser focused on his final season at Athens Christian, Davis's football ambitions lie at a higher level. He is currently contemplating an offer from West Point and attended a camp at Georgia Southern where he got to show off his blazing 4.5 40 speed.
Yeah, I did a camp with them this summer, and they all did a race for to see who was the fastest camper. And I won the race, and we took a picture after.
First-year head coach Ricky Bussell had high praise for the senior running back.
Well, John S., first of all, is a great leader for us, and he practices just like he plays. He practices hard. Sometimes he's vocal, sometimes he's not, but there's no question, he's out there to lead this football team. I have been around some awfully good backs in my time, and I will put John S. with anybody I've seen.
Power and finesse are a combination that has defenses game planning for him every week. With only 4 regular season games remaining in his high school career, John S. Davis isn't taking a snap for granted. With eyes on breaking his own rushing record, don't be surprised to see Davis playing football on Saturdays next fall. For the Carmichael Media Institute at UGA, this is Ethan Strang.
Davis will be a fun player to watch the rest of the season, especially if he continues breaking rushing records. Now, let's turn to our coach in the spotlight. After leading his team to state runner-up finishes the past 2 years, Oconee County's Travis Nolan has the Warriors off to a 6-0 start. RJ Taylor gives us a look at a different side of the coach who could finally win it all this season.
3 weeks ago, as a quarterback for South Carolina, Zeb Nolan played against Georgia in front of a raucous Sanford Stadium crowd. His father, Oconee County High head football coach Travis Nolan, was right there to witness it.
And that's the first time that he shed a tear.
because that was a dream come true. And so he was very emotional for that game.
Well, it was I was a ball of emotions, to be honest with you. To see him run out of that tunnel was pretty special, just knowing the journey that he'd been on to get to that point.
The Nolans have 3 sons, Zeb, Abe, and Ben. All 3 have played or are playing college football. Zeb, a quarterback, is currently making his 3rd stop with South Carolina. Abe was a defensive lineman for 2 years at Western Carolina. Ben is in his 2nd season as a wide receiver at Northern State University in Aberdeen, South Dakota. Their dad coached them all in high school. They all still talk about the game over the phone every week.
I wish you could hear their conversations, because they go over play by play, and the boys really do a lot of the talking and he just does a lot of the listening. But, I think it's very neat that they have a sport, which is their hobby and which is their love, that they can talk about.
Just try to listen more than I do talk, and when he asks, I try to give him an honest answer, and I think that's why our relationship is what it is because we're brutally honest with each other, and we know that there's one place we can get the truth from, and that's from each other.
Noland has had plenty of his own success on the field. He's in his 8th season as Oconee High's football coach, after previous stops at Clyde Irwin, Tuscola, both of which in North Carolina, and Stevens County. He has a 66-25 record in his time with the Warriors and is off to a 6-0 start this year after back-to-back state championship game losses.
I don't think the football world gets to see him as a dad. He always makes himself available to the boys and really mentors them through, their football life. He's quiet, but around us, he's funny and he cuts up. But a lot of people don't see that, that side of him.
And he leaves his sons with important advice as they begin to navigate the real world.
Just to never lose who you are and trust in the Lord, and that's about it.
What a moving story. I think I just became Nolan family fans. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we find out what Athens area teams could be on the hot seat. You won't want to miss this, so stay tuned.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight, both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back, because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
Welcome back to the new and improved Sportsource hot seat. Our analyst and I will be discussing what area teams are on the hot seat, and of course, we'll pick who is on the throne of fire. I want to welcome back Chris Caray and say hello to Davis Baker and Brendan Koerner. Chris, we discussed our game of the week earlier with Athens Academy having a 4-2 record, taking on Prince Avenue at 5-1. Which team do you think is on the hot seat?
As much as you're going to dislike this take because I'm putting pressure on your alma mater, I'm going to have to go with Athens Academy on the hotter seat. Both teams are very solid, but this time the Spartans are at home with a chance to claim the early lead in the region with a win. If they're unable to close it out, the Prince Avenue Wolverines will have some breathing room in Region 8 and likely solidify themselves as first for the rest of the season. Both teams get a hot seat rating of 7.6 considering the first region game.
All right, moving on to the 4-2 Athens Christian Eagles entering region play for the first time against the 1-5 George Walton Bulldogs. Brendan, with first-year head coach Ricky Bussell, is there any way Athens Christian could be on the hot seat if they were to lose?
Yeah, but I don't think that happens tonight.
This is the Eagles' first of 4 home games to end the season. I think the crowd will build confidence in Athens Christian's defense, which is a unit that is led by outside linebacker Antonio Finch. He leads the team with 41 total tackles, and the Eagles have an offense that's designed to keep the opponents off the field. Senior running back Johnez Davis, who we heard about earlier, carries the load for the Eagles. Athens Christian is also going up against a Bulldog offense that has only scored 44 points all season. This all bodes well for the Eagles, so I believe Athens Christian runs away with the victory. I'm going to go ahead and give them just a 3.7 on the hot seat scale tonight. No rookie scores.
Thanks, Brendan. We move on to 2 undefeated teams in region play, Cedar Shoals and Jefferson. Davis, what can we expect from Cedar Shoals in this matchup?
Yeah, Anna Marian, everyone is down on them, giving the Jaguars no shot going into this one. But I'm here to tell you to slow your roll. Cedars won its last 2 region games to improve to 2-2 on the season, and Coach Leroy Riles has his team playing some inspired ball as of late. Now, we know that this is going to be a challenge, perhaps the greatest challenge. Jefferson might just be the best team in the whole Class A classification. You'll probably see some diehard UGA fans at that game as well to see Jefferson's Malachi Starks, a top 25 player who's committed to Georgia.
Okay, but Davis, there's no chance that Cedar Shoals can actually win this game, right? Where are the Jaguars on the hot seat scale?
There actually is a path, Anna Marian, but it will require a tremendous performance from Jerdavian Colbert, their running back. He leads them with 414 rushing yards on the year and 4 touchdowns as well in 4 games. The Dragons will likely key into stopping him more than anything else.
So is Cedar Shoals on the hot seat tonight?
I'll put them at a 5 tonight. Nobody really expects them to win this game, but this game has the opportunity to make or break the season for them. If they lose tonight and don't respond well in the upcoming games, that seat's going to get hot pretty fast.
Thanks, Davis. Now on to a battle of undefeated teams between Oconee County and Hart County. Brendan, Oconee County Warriors continue their journey to a possible state title. Are they on the hot seat tonight?
I don't think so, Anna Marian. Both offenses will come out firing on all cylinders to give the fans a high-scoring game. Hart County has outscored its opponents 251-92, and Oconee County has outscored theirs 173-78. The difference will come from the defensive side of the ball. Oconee County has allowed 7 points or less in half of its games this season, and if the Warriors can make a couple key stops down the stretch, I think they can stay undefeated. I'm going to go ahead and give them a 4.3 on the hot scale.
Thanks for that, Brendan. Oconee's crosstown rivals, the North Oconee Titans, are taking on Flowery Branch. Davis, with the Titans at 3-3, what kind of playoff implications does this have for them?
Yeah, this is another big one, Anna Marian. North Oconee is out to a 2-0 start in their region, and a win over Flowery Branch would go a long way towards playoff seeding. Flowery Branch is a very talented team, but already has a region loss because, well, they faced Jefferson. A win would solidify North Oconee at the top of the Region 8 standings. In my opinion, it's going to come down to the play of Titans quarterback Max Wilson. He's just a sophomore, but is coming off a 4-touchdown performance against Chestatee. And get this, he went 18 for 18 passing in that game. How about 100% completion percentage? The Titans are low on the hot seat this week. I'll put them at just a 4, but that could escalate in the coming weeks if they were to lose to Flowery Branch tonight.
Lastly, we look at Clark Central taking on Walnut Grove. Clark Central got off to an 0-2 start, but has won 3 in a row since. Chris, we put the Gladiators on the throne of fire the last time we did this. How hot is the seat for them this week?
Coach David Perno has put together a good offensive plan for his star quarterback, Lucien Anderson. Anderson, much like Aaron Philo, spent time under 5-star quarterback Brock Vandegrift and has thrived since transferring from Prince Avenue to Clark Central. Looking to make it 4 straight wins, the Gladiators will come in at a 6.4 hot seat rating, only because they don't want to get to 500 again after this game with a loss.
Okay. Many differing opinions, but y'all have got to come to a consensus. What team is on the throne of fire? Davis?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Anna Marian, but I am going to have to go with the Athens Academy Spartans. I know it's going to hurt you to hear that. But just 2 points last week against Wesleyan. This is an offense that scored 70 points in a game this year. I want to see their offense get back on track. They're on the throne of fire for me tonight.
Brendan, who's your team on the throne of fire?
I've got to throw Clark Central in the fire this week. If they lose tonight, they'll be 3-3 on the season, and they've won their last 3. So if they can win their last 4, that'll put them at 4-2, and they'll be number 1 in the region.
And lastly, Chris, who is your team on the hot seat?
Well, it looks like I'm the deciding choice, and Anna Marian, you're not going to like this. I'm going to go with Athacad. I think that this team,
I've never heard it called like that.
Well, I'm going to go with Athens Academy. Much like Davis said, this is a team that is facing off against a really talented Prince Avenue team with Aaron Philo under center, especially at home. They need to win this one. They're on the throne of fire. If they get a loss here, Prince Avenue could run away with this one.
Well, as much as it hurts my heart, Athens Academy is on the throne of fire. I am fired up for some football after that, and I hope you are too. Thank you to our incredible analysts, Chris Caray, Davis Baker, and Brendan Koerner. Also, a huge thanks to our feature reporters, producers, and all the technical crew members that helped put this on. With that, my name is Marian Block, signing off. Good night, everybody.